Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Bruce with Habowskistudio here for another oil painting demonstration. I'm continuing on with my daily painting routine. Today's painting is a 5x5 seascape that I painted with a palette knife and a brush. So pretty interesting. I love the textures that I got in it. And this particular video will be voiceover. I'm just painting away, listening to a podcast. So I'll do a voiceover and explain what's going on in the editing part later on. So if you're new to the channel, thank you for watching. I invite you to subscribe. If you do, be sure to hit that bell notification icon to make sure that you get alerted as to when I do new videos. And I invite everybody to follow me on my Facebook business page, art page, Habowski Studio. Check that out. I post a lot of clips of paintings in progress, art-related things, all that good stuff. So check that out. All right, let's continue with the painting.
Hey everybody, what's going on? So this is an unusual painting for me. I don't usually do seascapes, this type of subject, and it's interesting because I love going to the beach and trying to spend time there and relaxing and the ocean. So it's interesting that I don't incorporate more of that in my work. But again, this is me, experimenting with the palette knife work comboed with the brush work. I think I'm starting to see a little shift in future paintings of incorporating this type of style. And what's going to be really challenging in the future is seeing how I can really push this in my urban work, which tends to be a little more structural and tight, so to speak. And but live and learn. It's really enjoyable working this way though, because you have control and you don't have control. So it's really a way to be, for me at this point where my work is, of trying to regenerate some creativity in my painting. I also find that it's an interesting way to facilitate creating the information in a painting and then manipulating it with the brush, of course, later on. But and in this piece I only use that particular palette knife. As you can see, it's one of my favorite go-to palette knives. I have many styles, and my goal is to try to do this kind of format painting on a large scale. I've done a few smaller ones and I've been really happy with the end result. It's almost like if you look at the painting itself, you're not seeing any physical details really, like when you get up close. It becomes a very kind of almost abstract passages and such. But you step away a bit and it's almost like you get a feel of what you're looking at. It's almost like the view is encompassing you being there in person and viewing everything a little bit at a time with your eyes, and then it all coalesces into one general image. And it's pretty fascinating. It's almost like a more true sense of reality. I don't know how to explain it, and of course the meaty aspect to the painting. I really am finding that I enjoy seeing the process of the painting. I do have many art books on like the photorealists and things of that nature, and I do think it's important to have some draftsmanship to define form, but you got to find a balance for yourself, and it seems I'm really kind of getting into the more expressive aspect of painting and how it can really kind of show what I want to see in the view as opposed to what's really there. It's quite challenging in a way too, because you feel it takes some talent to really pick out the elements that you want to highlight to define that space. Because in the end, I find I'm not really documenting a scene. I find something in a scene that has struck my attention, like a light on a hill or something like that, and everything else is just a supporting measure. So I'm realizing to let go a little bit and really get into the editing and the painting process, and let the painting tell me what it needs. Now this part in the painting for me was especially challenging because waves, of course, are coming and going constantly when you're on site, and even taking pictures. It helps, of course, in this case, me working from a photo, freezing the waves. But if you're on site, you really just have to try to study what the consistent form is as it's coming into shore and going back out from shore, and try to capture some of those elements, I think. Definitely takes some time to really get the feel of the ocean, I'm sure. And this is just more of a kind of generic aspect to capturing the waves. And of course, the smaller wave in the kind of coming from the left corner of the painting, you get a little bit of the sea foam kind of lacy effect, and you'll see me work on that later. But it's amazing just with this little bit of palette knife work how you can really poof. There's the impression of what you're looking at. I especially like how the wet sand is coming out, and you'll see that advance more in later parts of the painting, but kind of suggesting the cloud reflections into the wet sand and the little layer of water there, and I'm really happy with how that came out. Now I'm starting to add some little darker values to create some contrast in parts and bring out other parts. You don't always have to lighten an area to maybe gain more attention to it. You can always remember to maybe reflect on the fact that you may have to darken what's around that one element to bring it out, either through just a value shift or potentially color shift, all those type of things. And here I am now doing my finessing of the palette knife work that I applied before, not overkilling the aspect of the textural part of the palette knife, but just suggesting some strokes here and there. And key here too, because of the scale of the piece, you're suggesting a lot of space in a small painting. You want to be careful of the size of your strokes and make sure they're not too large and chunky. I think it needs to kind of be in relation to the scale of size you're painting. I love how the clouds turned out too. I was really happy with that. Just putting in some strokes here and there to pick up a little more interest, to suggest more detail than I painted in. Suggestive realism. One thing I also like about this piece is how I chose to crop the scene. With seascapes, you really have the potential with the wave, the lines of the waves, to lead the eye in for the viewer. So that's a nice feature to play up. Kind of is like already ready-made for you, so you don't really have to get too creative. And I like that little bit of warm sandy area in the piece to balance off the coolness in the water and that sort of thing. See, here's the lacy aspect I'm talking about. I'm trying to be suggestive to show what it's like without every small little detail, because of course the scale of the piece you wouldn't see it. But I like how the distant landmass came out also. You just have to pull out small little areas. And how I go vertical strokes versus horizontal strokes, something else to practice trying yourself to really suggest different surfaces in a painting. And probably the only thing I would have done different in the future is to maybe put a couple people walking on the beach to show some scale. But I was really caught up in more of the cloud reflections and the waves, so it's okay. Next time we'll get to it. And in the future videos, I bought a new Canon Vixia camcorder that seems to record very high definition videos. So I'm hoping to incorporate that in some future videos to really show the texture of the paint. So that's something that I'm working on, doing some test videos. So be looking for that. And this is going to wrap up this voiceover. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought, and if you have any tips or tricks for painting your seascapes. So until next time, take care.
Okay, I just finished up the painting. It came out pretty nice, pretty happy with it. There's always a challenge a little bit when you work with a palette knife, depending on the thickness of layer that you do, and then manipulating it with the brush. But I think it came out pretty well. The key is not to try to hold on to perfection too much. If something goes south or that sort of thing, you know, you just got to roll with the punches. learn your lesson, try to retain what you did wrong. But overall, I think that I'm pretty happy with the piece. Let's take a look. Okay, here's the painting, and I'm going to try to zoom in here, see if we get some detail. Pretty happy with how it came out. Let's try to get super up close. Sorry if there's going to be a little glare from the lights on the wet paint, but I love the edges and that sort of thing. It kind of pulls together enough. The only thing I'll probably do once this sets up, tacks up just enough, is kind of right in the leading edge here, I'll scumble some lighter toned paint to suggest the foam and the breaking water a little more, heighten the contrast. But it's got some good bones.